So firstly we discuss the chapter 2, the invisible living world beyond our naked eye. So in this chapter, first we solve some questions. First question: have you ever wondered what might see if the invisible world around you become visible? Second question is: how do you think your observation this hidden world might be changed way of thinking about size and complexity, even what count as living? Have you thought how these tiny things become or being interact with each other? So we can answer these three questions after reading the chapter. So firstly we go through the text. So firstly we go through the text. So I have read the paragraph for you, and after reading we understand the basic concept of human eye. So firstly, the human eye can only see objects that are above certain size. So human eye can also see objects that are above certain size for a long time. Many tiny things around us remain unknown. Some tiny things around us remain unknown. Long ago, people discovered that cut pieces of glass could make small things look bigger, and the piece of glass was shaped like a lentil seed and thick in middle and thin at the edge, as they called it a lens. So basically, it is the definition of lens. So what we see from this definition of lens, the thick and thin in the edges, in the middle, that is called lens. So thick in the middle and thin at the edge, hence it is called lens. Over time, lenses were improved to become more powerful. Each new tool, from a simple magnifying glass to microscopes, helped humans see what these eyes could not. So invention of the microscope opened fascinating hidden world filled with tiny living creatures. So we explore some of this life from this chapter. So we have already learned about the amazing variety of living beings. Just look around, there are so many beautiful plants and animals. There are of all shapes and sizes and colors. So some living beings are tiny while others are really big. So they do not only their structures but also in other creatures. So all these living beings, whether it is plant or animals, are called organisms. So this is very important keywords. What is the definition of organism? So all the living beings, whether it is plant, whether it is animals, are called organisms. So organisms can be divided into two types, that is plants and animals. So it is highlighted. Then we go to next. Have you ever noticed that smallest organism around you that is visible to the naked eye? So what is that? What is that living things that is seen to the naked eye? Think about it, and how small a thing can your eyes actually see? You might have seen some people using reading glasses. How does it help them so better? So what happens when you use magnifying glass to observe something? So basically here we can focus the magnifying glass. So what is magnifying glass? So basically we do next paragraph to understand what is magnifying glass. So first, do you notice something interesting? The letters appears larger when through the flash. When we see in the flash, the magnifying glass or the objects or the letters larger seen through the flash. So this happens because the flash filled with water. So this flash filled with water acts like a magnifying glass. So now we can define the magnifying glass. Magnifying glass look at a small organism like an ant. So basically magnifying glass is the object that can see tiny objects like ant and microorganisms. So we can clearly see what are the objects and what are the textures and what are the shapes of the tiny objects. For a long time, people were curious to explore tiny organisms around them, but they could not see them with the naked eyes. Some organisms could not see in the naked eye. So, how did you finally discover invisible world? Do you know which scientific discovery helped us see the tiny world for the first time? So, according to some research, we can find out that in 1665, a scientist named Robert. So, this is very important questions according to your exam point of view. The scientist named was Robert Hooke published a book that is called Micrographia. So his book name is very important. That is called Micrographia. So a Micrographia. He was carefully observer and skilled artist. In this book, he showed detailed drawings of tiny things that people had never seen before and things he saw using a tool we now call a microscope. So Robert Hooke basically took a microscope or used such things, tools that nowadays called microscopes. His microscope is very old, made things look 203 times bigger than what one could see with the unaided eye, naked eye. One day, he looked at a thin slice of rock and saw it was made of many small and empty spaces. These compartments remind him of the honeycomb. So Robert Hooke checked a honeycomb and see these compartments, and these compartments then further observe, and he draw what he saw and called each compartment or each small species or small space is a cell. So what is cell? So very important question in your exams. So in the honeycomb, small spaces are called cells. So this was the first time word cell was used in science to describe the basic unit of life. So here is one important question: what is the basic unit of life? So the answer is the cell. So around some time in 1660s, Antony van Leeuwenhoek, a Dutch scientist, made better lenses that allowed him to build more useful microscopes. So he better used the microscopes, and he was the first person to clearly see and describe tiny living things like bacteria and blood cells. Because of this, he called the father of microbiology. So here is very important questions: who is the father of microbiology? So we can write his name, Antony van Leeuwenhoek. So next we go further, then we come across what is cells. Next thing, we study Robert Hooke used some honeycombs and their compartments are called cells. So what is the definition of cells? So all living beings are made of cells. So all the living beings, whether it is plant, whether it is animals, all the living beings, whether it is animals or plants, made of cells. You might wonder what cells actually look like. Let us take a closer look at the basic structure of cell using microscope. So let us study a cell. This is a activity. You can we can study the activity and take the observations or note the observations. Take an onion bulb from your kitchen or garden and wash it thoroughly with water. Then onion bulb vertically into pieces. Then take one piece of onion and pull out the thin and transparent layer from its inner surface with the help of forceps, and this layer is called the onion peel. So place the peel in petri dish containing a few drops safranin red color strain for 30 seconds, and this will give a pinkish color to the cells and help us see them clearly. Then with the help of thin brush, transfer of onion peel to another petri dish containing water to rinse the peel and remove excess strain. Now carefully place the strained onion peel on the glass slide using a thin brush and ensuring it does not break or fold. So put a drop of glycerin over the onion peel on the slide, and the glycerin will prevent drying the cells and improve clarity for better visualization of cells. Slowly place a cover slip over the peel using a needle such that no air bubbles get trapped. Then use blotting paper to gently wipe off any extra glycerin around the edges of the cover slip, and view the slide under the microscope or polyscope compared with figure 2.3. Here there is the figure. What is the similarity do you find in 2.3c and figure 2.3d? So here is a sack of or a wall made of by brick, and here is structure of onion peel under the microscopes. So you will observe nearly rectangular structure under the microscope. We find the rectangular structure in the microscope, and these are the cells of the onion peel which are closely arranged without any space between them. Here the onion peels are arranged in such a way that their gaps are not in the line, and they are not arranged without any space in between them. And try to observe the peels of the leaves different plants around you. We'll find that all the plants made of cells. And what do you think body of animal is made of? So we can now imagine that our body is made of such tiny portions that is called cells. So let us find out another example. Rinse your mouth with clean water. Use the blunt end of clean toothpick and gently scrub the inside your cheek. Place the scrubbed material in a drop of water on a clean glass slide and spread it evenly. And add a drop of methylene blue over the material on slide. Adding strain improves the visibility of the material under the microscope by increasing contrast. After 1 minute, add a drop of glycerin over the material on the slide to prevent cells from drying. Now carefully place a clean cover slip on the material and remove the excess glycerin from the edges of the cover slip using blotting paper, and observe the slide under a microscope and draw what you see in the notebook. So what do you observe? Then we will observe a polygon shaped structure that is shown in figure 2.4. These are the cheek cells which form the inner lining of your mouth. So our mouth is covered the inner lining cells. What is the similarity and difference did you observe between the cells of onion peel in activity 2.2 and human cheek cells in activity 2.3? We have observed that cells have three main parts. So basically cells have three main parts: thin outer lining, a central region, thin outer lining, that is cell membrane, and outer lining, central region, thin outer lining and a central region, and a small round structure inside it. So the outer layer is basically called cell membrane. Very important questions asked in examinations. So the outer layer is called a cell membrane. So the round structure in the middle is nucleus. So here the round structure is called the nucleus. It is very important in the exam point of view. So basically the round structure in the middle is called the nucleus, which is also covered by a thin membrane. The space between the cell membrane and the nucleus Here the cell membrane and the nucleus. Cell membrane and the nucleus, there is a space. So that space is filled with some materials. That material is called cytoplasm. So what is cytoplasm? The space between the cell membrane and the nucleus is filled with some materials that is called cytoplasm. So these three, cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus, are basic parts of cells. Some cells like onion peels have an extra outer layer is called cell wall. Some organisms have extra outer layer that is called cell wall. What is the importance of these structures in cells, and what function do they perform? Are these functions important for the maintenance of life? Yes, we can say that these three parts are important for the maintenance of life. So firstly, the cell membrane encloses the cytoplasm. Cell membrane firstly encloses the cytoplasm, then encloses the nucleus. So the cell membrane separates one cell from another. So firstly, the cell membrane separates one cell from another. It is porous and allows the entry of material essential for life processes and the exit of waste material. So basically, cell membrane is the bodyguard of cells that is exaggerate or that is porous. So that is why waters and all essential materials are going through cells and going out to cells. So cytoplasm contains other component of cells. So basically in cytoplasm, other components of the cells are present. So such as some compounds like carbohydrates, proteins, fats and mineral salts. Most of the life process takes place within the cytoplasm. So we further, nucleus is a regulate all activity that occur within the cell. It also regulates the growth of the cells. So here the function of the nucleus. What is nucleus do? Firstly, nucleus regulate all activity that occur in the cells, and it also regulates the growth of the cell. Then the cell wall in the plant cell. Now, so basically, cell wall is not found in animal cell. It is found in plant cell. Provides rigidity and strength to the plants. So basically, the function of the plant cell is it provides rigidity and strength to the plants. This is why all cells are arranged compactly with each other and look firm structure. So the strengthness of the plant is due to the cell wall that is not present in the animal cells. So we can now read some basic concepts of cells. So next class we go to the next section that is called cells, cytoplasm, and some plastid, chloroplast, vacuum, and some other organisms that are present in cytoplasm. So we do in next class. So then subscribe our channel and visit our channel and support our channel. Then tata, goodbye. See you again in the next class.